Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And today we're talking Spiel des Jahres award, nominees, winners, who will win, who should win.
Yeah, 2024. We did this last year.
We did.
And we're excited to do it again this year.
So without further ado, let's bring forward our nominees.
Our nominees are... these three games.
These three games.
Which we will talk to you about really quickly, I guess, right?
Exactly.
So what is the Spiel des Jahres?
Now, this is the Game of the Year award that's based from Germany. It's done by a jury. They do a very thorough process. And I personally love this award because out of these nominees, the winners are some of the history's best board games, in all honesty. They include Catan, Ticket to Ride, Rubik's Cube,
wow.
Scotland Yard, so like a lot of the Blast in the Past, and more recently Cascadia,
Dwarf Romantic,
Codenames,
about that.
Yeah, so a lot of games that are in households today. That most people know about.
This award did start in the 70s, so it's been around for quite some time. Hence why it is probably one of the best known awards out there. Yeah.
And the really fun part about it is the games that win, they sell significantly more units across the world.
As they should, because people should enjoy them.
They are the game of the year. And there's a subset of people that really look for these games. They get a little badge, you look for them. So it's really fun. It's a good time of the year. And today we've had the chance to play all of the nominees. So we're going to tell you who should win, who will win, and any of our thoughts or surprises of who we maybe didn't see on this list.
Yes, yeah. And you'll get a gist of what we mean by who should win and who will win. But generally speaking, we do have, like, the Spiel is actually like one of those awards that definitely touches on a lot of different topics. One of the big things being like ease of access, and you'll see that as we begin to explain some of these three games here.
If you want to learn more, feel free to head on over to the Spiel website.
Yes.
They have the whole jury, the adjudication, the whole process, the criteria. So feel free to read about it if you're interested. But without further ado, let's go through all of these games.
Uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
Exactly. Now we're going to start off with In the Footsteps of Darwin. Tyler, take it away.
Yeah, so In the Footsteps of Darwin is kind of exactly what it sounds like. You're taking these... this trek around the world, discovering and uncovering a bunch of different species, adding people to your journey, while also like tile drafting and creating your like logbook. The logbook will score you a bunch of different points based on how you fill it up and the patterns that you're able to collect, the scoring mechanisms, and overall it's really just drafting until there's no tiles left.
There's a really cool spatial draft behind it because where the ship is, you can choose any of the tiles in that column or row depending where it is. But the tile that you take will actually also determine how far the ship moves, which is a really cool aspect of the game. But the production value of this is so high. Every little detail here, there's so much educational value here too, which is really cool to see.
And recently they just announced In the Footsteps of Marie Curie, which is really cool because they're doing this like... It seems like they're doing this whole series around this stuff. So
and it looks like the mechanics are completely different.
So
that's really cool to see too.
It'll be interesting to see how that game fits in with this. But it's something you can look forward to if you also pick up this game. And then whenever that one comes out, you're good to go.
Now, next up we have Captain Flip. Now, what Captain Flip is a game where you're building up a pirate ship. The way you'll do this is you'll draw into a bag and you'll take a tile and you'll decide if you want to keep the face of the tile or flip it and place the other one. Now you'll be placing your tiles in columns starting from bottom to top. And that's essentially it. The cool aspect of the game is that flipping of the tiles, because there are some tiles that will also flip your tiles. So there's a lot of flipping mechanisms that happen. And each of the tiles scores slightly differently. Some of them have immediate scoring versus later at the end of the game scoring. And how you place your crew members will determine how you win the game.
Yeah, it's got a bit of push your luck to the game, of course, because you are drawing from the tiles, and then making that decision of whether or not you're going to flip is always interesting. And it comes with 4 different maps that you can play with, which adds a little bit of variability, but doesn't overcomplicate the game, which makes it pretty great.
A 5th promo map in the store, and I really wanted it.
But I think we had to buy the entire game again. Yeah.
Honestly, would do.
And last but not least, we have Sky Team. Sky Team is a silent cooperative game where you are playing as a pilot and co-pilot, attempting to land your plane safely in a variety of different airports.
Now, this is a 2-player only game.
Yes.
And the way the mechanics in this game work is you'll roll your dice behind your little screens, and then, well, first you'll communicate what you want to do. Then you'll roll the dice.
You do get to actually talk.
And then you'll place your dice, making sure the flaps are down, making sure the speed is slowed down, the elevation is down, because you don't want to crash. You want to land very safely into the airport that you're landing in. There's potentially lots of hazards to go through. There's so many different modules, and it's a cooperative. Mwah.
Yeah, you've got to like radio planes, like one of the
Get out of the way.
Yeah, it's like make sure the sky is clear so you can actually keep going through it. And like Ilya said, there's a lot of different modules that you can play through, and it does feel very like campaign-esque.
So that is the 3 nominations this year. Now, when they were announced, what did we think? What was our first impressions? What was our gut reaction?
All right, gut reaction.
Gut reaction
to the 3. Let's start with that. I was surprised that, okay, a couple things, I guess. I'll start with Sky Team. I was surprised that Sky Team was nominated because it's a 2-player only, and I think it's a little bit more complicated. Like, even though it's like this blind, or this like hidden, campaign game where you're not really speaking to one another, I think that there's a bit of randomness, obviously, because you're using dice, but just with how complicated it was, I wasn't sure that it fit into the Spiel, but I'm no expert.
Yeah. I liked how different they all were.
They are very different.
Because I feel like in the Footsteps of Darwin is, I think, more educational, more attention to like each component, each detail of the game. Sky Team is a cooperative game where these are competitive. It's 2-player only. It has some unique mechanisms, and it feels really thematic as well. And then Captain Flip, I feel, feels like Joy the Box. You have that kind of lottery with the tiles. You're trying to see what's happening. Every tile, every turn feels exciting. And they, I feel like, all convey like almost a different sense of emotion as well, which was really interesting. Now, I was surprised that some of the recommendations didn't surpass to be the final, because there's usually a recommendation on the finalists.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And there's 2 in particular that we've played, that I have played.
Yeah.
And the first one being Harmonies. Now, Harmonies is a gorgeous game.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And maybe it's because of the recency bias, because it has recently come out. Everyone's been raving about it. We've been playing it a ton. It's just so beautiful, so much fun to play. But it is also a little similar to Cascadia.
So it's interesting that you say that, because the most common comment I hear about people when they talk about Harmonies is it plays very similar to Cascadia. Now, I do agree to some point. I also agree that maybe some games shouldn't be compared like that. You can tell people that it plays similar to it, but like to say, I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to get into it, but the Harmonies is very similar to Cascadia, and I agree. I think maybe it is recency bias, because same thing, and actually I'll add to it, is same thing with or the next game that I want to talk about. Captain Flip is also a bit recent, but it's here, so it's nominated. The other game is Trio.
Or Nana.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have been talking about Trio and Harmonies a lot. Maybe that's just like within our community. And we've been playing it a lot. I love showing people both of these games, especially most recently. That's what I've been liking to do. So those are like conflicting. I'm not saying that they should have bumped any of these games. All of the games in that list of recommendations that we had played, at least, were very worthy of being a nominee. And it's exciting to see these 3 here.
My favorite types of games are games like Diseases. And I feel like Trio...
what?
Diseases.
Diseases.
So like Trio and Harmonies, really contagious diseases. Because
diseases.
Trio and Harmonies are both games that you play, and then people that you play with want to play, and then it just spreads.
Okay.
And I feel like both of those...
I think maybe we could just call them contagious.
No, diseases. So I feel like both those games I've witnessed more of a spread than some of these potentially. But those were my surprises, but I think these are very deserving. I'm very excited to see them. It's really cool to see a vast diversity of games represented.
I think the only other thing that I would say is I was a little surprised by In the Footsteps of Darwin, just because I think we had played it such a long time ago that when I saw it up for nomination, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that game was like new enough, I guess is the best way to say it. But when we played it, I enjoyed it. Like, we've played all 3 of these back, and like all of them are really fun. So
very true. So now the question you've been waiting for:
who should win and who will win?
So we'll start with who should win.
Yes.
So I think with should, it's more of a maybe we like these games more.
I think it's mostly our opinion.
Well, both these are opinions.
Yes, but who will win is more of like we've considered outside sources. I think like internally should win is what we believe, like personally should win.
I think who should win is Captain Flip.
That's fair.
Because there is buckets of joy in that game. You never know the tile that's going to come out. You never know when you flip when it's like the perfect tile that you've been looking for. The different maps play so differently. It feels good every single time you play that game. The games feel close, and they're fast enough that if they're not close, you can just play again.
That is true.
I've
Especially with a push your luck game, I think that's like a pretty key highlight.
Yeah, it doesn't feel overly like different. It's one of those games that I'm surprised it's not around.
Yeah, like you play it and you're like, well, why did this take so long? But there are quite a bit of like push your luck,
but not in this. I feel like it's a really clean design.
Yes.
And what it does very well in my opinion.
You're right. Yeah.
So that is why I think Captain Flip should win.
I don't agree with that.
That is my opinion.
This is your opinion. My opinion on who should win is I think Sky Team should win.
Okay.
I think because it's a 2-player cooperative, it's got this interesting like hidden placement, hidden like role type thing that you've got going on. There's a campaign, it's lengthy. It is more complicated than the other 2 here in my opinion, but I do think that's like a double-edged sword. I think a lot of the stuff that I'm saying here is a double-edged sword for Sky Team. I think that the fact that it's a 2-player could be detrimental to it. I think that the fact that it's cooperative could be detrimental. But I think that also proves just how unique the game is, and that's why I think it should win.
It's a trendsetter.
Yes.
Like the million new duel games that are coming out. Yeah.
Who saw that coming?
Well, with that said, who will win?
I will flip on this, and I will say Captain Flip will win. I think from how I understand it, and from like just personally playing it, this game is way more accessible and easy to get to the table, easy to replay. It has a bunch of different replayability just in the board, the 4 boards that it comes with. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen with this award is the accessibility part of it. The uniqueness thing. I haven't really seen another game like this be put into the nominees in quite some time, I would say, or at least for a lot of the time that we've been really, really in the hobby. So I think that that's why it has an edge. I hear nothing but good things from it as well. So that's another thing.
Who will win? Okay.
Yeah.
This one was really hard for me. Because I think when I think of who will win, I always think of like contextually, like which game is going to be around in 20 years.
Right.
Which game is going to stick around, which game is going to appeal to the masses, surprise people potentially, and get more people into the hobby. I tossed actually between even the 3 of them. Because I do think, like, to give a shout out to the Footsteps of Darwin, there's a lot of educational value, which I've really enjoyed seeing in the games that have come in the last few years.
Yes.
And I think this game really celebrates that, and that's really cool to see. But with that said, my top 2 were these 2.
Yep.
And I do think I will say, there's a lot of pressure because the last 2 years I got it right.
Yeah.
So just saying, I think Sky Team will take it.
I got it right last 2 years too, though.
I think we disagreed on one of the years.
I think that was for the Kenner Spiel.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think this is where we're gonna differ. So this will be whose streak will be broken. Maybe both. Maybe both.
Maybe both of us. Yeah.
But I think Sky Team will win. I think Sky Team will win for the reasons of it being unique and different. I do think it's one of those games that you play and you just feel, although it is more complex, I think when the theme flows really smoothly, complexity feels lessened, which I think is the case for Sky Team. And I do think it's one of those games that people have been really excited about. And it does change the scope of what board games can do, because it does feel really different to what you're doing in this game.
Yep.
I love cooperative games. I love how this game kind of took a spin and making a really thematic cooperative game. So for that, I do think Sky Team will take the Spiel.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot in the box. I mean, I definitely tossed between the two.
It'll be an interesting one.
I think I just took the opposite stance, where I thought everything that is great about Sky Team
might be a
also
detriment.
presented as a detriment to this award specifically.
We'll see what the jury has to say in about a month, and we'll see who is correct.
Yeah.
Now, for our question of the day.
Which of these three do you think should win and will win? And of course, like, which one is your favorite out of the three?
What's our favorite?
My favorite, I think, would definitely be Sky Team. I think that's my who should play, or who should win. But
yeah, that's similar with me. I think my favorite out of the three is Captain Flip.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. All right. If you liked this video, though, give us that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, because we make weekly board game content. Not necessarily like this, because it's only an annual award, but we talk about board games every week, and we'd love you to join our journey.
Do you want to see a similar video for the Kennerspiel? We can finish the whole Ticket to Ride Legacy.
Yeah, no. We're going to Iceland for 2 weeks.
We could play Ticket to Ride Legacy there.
Yeah, that might not work with our luggage, but
if you want to hear our thoughts about the Kennerspiel, feel free to check out our Discord, feel free to check out our Patreon. All those links are down in the description below. And thank you so much if you've made it this far to the end of the video. Tyler has a joke for you.
I don't have a joke for you, but I do have a goodbye for you. Bye!